Once I arrive at DL McDonald, I scan in, I get my train bag and my radio, head out to my train. The first thing I have to do is turn the battery on the train. Then I have to lift up my pantographs. That powers the train. There's a door on the side that has all the switches for the safety equipment. I have to make sure that all the seals that are supposed to be sealed are sealed. I have to close my breaker and open my doors to check, make sure the doors are all going to open. I check and make sure all the doors work all the way along the train, make sure all the cabs are locked. And I get to the other end of the train and go through the same procedure. I set my signs up for my destination, close my doors, and then I head out online. Control from train 22 ready to leave. When I want to leave the garage, the first thing I do is I have to get permission from control to leave the shop. And then I can pull up to the door, and the doors will automatically open when I get close enough. And then I give one long blast on my horn to let people outside know that I'm coming out. And when I get out, the magnet there automatically shuts me down to test my onboard signal system. Once that happens, I reset my train. Then control gives me a routing out to Clareview. All through the line there's magnets, and there's a magnet on the bottom of the train. If the light is red, the magnet is activated, shut your train down. Or there's also magnets that are called speed checks, and there's speed limits throughout the line and in the transit centers, and the end of the line there's speed checks halfway through the transit centers. So if you're going too fast over one of those speed checks, it will also shut you down. The training to become an LRT operator is fairly intensive. The first week is probably the hardest. You have a book about that thick to read. You learn basically everything on paper that you could need to know to operate. And you study the book for a week, and then you write the test at the end of a week, and you have to get 90% to move on. The signal system itself is designed to run automatically. As long as the trains are all spaced apart and on time, you'll never get too close to the train in front of you, so you should always have green lights. There's also yellow lights, which are called call-ons, and they are for the crossings. What happens is a call-on is you get close enough to it, you call on the signal, and the gates start coming down at the intersection, and you're protected for the next crossing. If you have an emergency on your train, or if your train breaks down, they can route trains around you, and they do fairly often have to route trains around if a train dies or if there's an emergency on the train. When we pull into a station, the doors will be open for a minimum of 8 seconds. So usually 8 seconds doesn't seem like much, but 8 seconds is usually enough for a fairly large crowd to get off and on the train. If we dwell too long in the stations, then we start to run late. A typical shift on the train is usually anywhere from 7.5 to 8.5 hours. At the end of the day, I'll call control, let them know that I'm ready for a route to the shop. Once I'm in the yard, then I let them know that I'm clear of the signal system, and then I let the maintenance know that I have a good train or if I have any problems with the train. I parked my train and shut it down. I'm an LRT motorman. My name is Alan, and I love my job.